Hello, hello, hello. It is another magnificent Monday, and we are back here once again in Miss G's Ladies Lounge. Welcome to each and every one of you. I am your host, Gwen Finley, Miss G. That's me. And I'm excited to be here with you all once again on this magnificent Monday. Ready, ready, ready to have a wonderful chat on tonight with you all and my guests. Listen, I'm excited about everything that has been going on, and I know that it's only going to get better and better. So we're looking forward to greater days ahead, better days ahead. But as I was thinking about some of the occurrences that I've experienced over the last few weeks, I realized that, hey, there's more to it than just getting through day by day. We have to work on securing our future. We have to work on our end of life planning, our financial planning, things that are going to help us to be successful as we go forward. So tonight, I brought in one of the experts that is here. And when I tell you, she is definitely an expert. And I brought her in to chat with us about some of those things on tonight. Listen, I've got a lot of friends who do a lot of things, and I could bring a whole round table full of these women. But tonight, this one is actually my good friend, and I wanted to just share this time with her on tonight. So listen, if you would take a moment to like, tag, share, let your family and your friends know that this is a chat that they want to be involved in. This is one of those chats that is not just, we're not just talking just to be talking. We're not here just to be looking pretty, even though we do. But we're here because we want to make sure that we impart some information that is going to help you to be successful and to live successful and even to die successful. Listen, I know some people hate that die word, but it's important. They say so you live, so you die, right? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We're going to get into it. Like, tag, share, tell your friends, tell your family we're here. So let me tell you a little bit about myself first. I am Gwen Finley. I am a visionary startup coach. I have been excited about helping and seeing others to realize their potential and their dreams coming into fruition and manifestation. And so I work with those individuals that are ready to make that plunge and to take that plunge. I am working with entrepreneurs who want to start up, but they just don't know how to get started, don't know where to get started. I specialize in those that are a little more mature. So if you're interested in, getting started, but you feel like you're a little bit older and you need someone to take it slow with you, I'm your girl, right? Okay. So also, I'm working with individuals. And it's my pleasure to be able to help see them through their book writing campaigns. And so this is something that I have really been excited about working with. And so if you want to know more about me, up in that top left corner, you can see it up there. It just says simply www.gwenfinley.org. And so you can go there, you can find out more about me. You can send me a request if you'd like to hear more, if you'd like to set up a discovery call, and we can just get to know each other and see where we can go from here, because you only can go further if you get started. All right. So now that we have got the house rules and house information out of the way, we are going to get started, and I am going to introduce my guest to you on tonight. Listen, as I said, she is an amazing, amazing woman, and I'm excited to have her here with me on tonight. And if you're here, go ahead and let us know in the chat that you're here. We love to know that you are hanging out with us. This is always an interactive chat. So we love for you to get involved in the conversation. You may not be on screen, you may not be audible, but you are certainly seen by your comments. So go ahead and put your comments in the chat and we'll pop them on up here and we will respond to any questions that you may have. And so, good evening to Helen, one of my most faithful viewers. We're glad to have you on here tonight. Greetings and love to you. All right, so tonight I have with me Dr. Z. Michelle Hughes. And Dr. Hughes is a multifaceted entrepreneur, pastor, mother, grandmother, and she has earned multiple doctoral, master's, and bachelor's degrees in various areas, including human resources, and I believe it's healthcare management and administration. We'll find out more about it, quality, and so on and so on. Listen, she's got like a list, so I can't keep up with them all, but we're going to let her tell us a little bit more about those. But as the CEO and founder of Empowered to Change Consulting LLC, she is changing lives one at a time with assistance in finances and end of life planning. She is also a mentor, an intercessor, and a consultant to many. So that's just a very, very brief version of who she is. But I promise you, there's a whole lot more that I could say. So let's just go ahead and bring her in on tonight. We're excited if you're here and you're excited to hear from Dr. Z. Michelle joining us on tonight. Why don't you give her some love in the chat? Give us some hearts, give us some hand claps, some streamers. Good evening, Dr. Michelle.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay, Uncle Gwen?
Yes, I can hear you very well, very well.
I
Well, as soon as
am
I said that,
so
got
excited to be here on Miss G's Lounge. I'm excited. So thank you so much for having me on this evening. Oh, my name is Dr. Z. Michelle Hughes. As Miss G has already stated, I am the wife of one fabulous husband for over 40 years, Pastor Daryl Lamont Hughes. We have three magnificent adult children and lots of grandchildren. I'll leave it at that. From the age of 2 to 17 years old, and we're excited. We remain busy. We're busy in the ministry, Redemptive Grace Ministries. We took over the ministry after the transition of my former pastor, Senior Pastor Dorothy Hughes, and the Lord is doing great things. We just celebrated. We've been in ministry 2 years now with him at the helm, or us at the helm, you might say. But I'm really excited. So thank you again for having me. So as Miss G stated, why don't you like and share and invite someone to join us, because this is a subject that people do not like to talk about. There are some things that we must do in life. Two of them, people say they don't, and they get in trouble for. It's pay taxes and die. Well, unalive is the new terminology is.
right.
So we have to make preparation. So what is end of life planning? I know nobody likes to talk about it, but we did not come here to stay forever. And so we must face the realization that we will leave because this place is not our home. So we will leave this side and we have another home. So while we're on this side, there's some things that need to take place while you're here. I know it's
Right.
scary. It doesn't matter your age. People don't like to think about it. If you have children, you really need to do it. If you don't have children, you really need to do it, because the scripture says the love of money is the root of all evil. And I cannot tell you how many people I have run across and I've tried to help. And they some of them stopped speaking to each other when it came time to divvy up the beneficiary money. over money, over money. So therefore, if you have something in place, then you will alleviate those things. And okay, so what is end of life planning? It's the process of making decisions and getting your affairs in order, preparation for when you pass away. We all know we're going to leave. What is it that you're going to
Mhm.
do? Important decisions. If you have property, if you have a home, if you have a vehicle, health care, your money, much more. It's not just, I don't want to do a will. Okay, you don't have to do a will. But I will say to you, if you do not do a will, there are a lot of things that can happen. Now, what happens is if you are a married individual and you do not do a will, and people will say the wife gets everything. Let me correct you on that. That is not true. Okay? Just had a situation where a young man passed away without a will. He had a wife and he had a daughter.
Mhm.
The daughter received two-thirds of the money in his bank account,
Mhm.
and the wife received the rest. Hear me now. And I had spoken with him several times about a will, and he's like, "Oh no, my wife's going to get everything." And I said, "Well, not necessarily. Make sure you have things in writing. I would encourage you to do a will." Now let me tell you this. If I'm going too fast, slow me down because I'm excited. I know it
Yes.
probably sounds morbid, but I am excited
Right.
because this is something. This is what we need to do.
Mhm.
People need to know what to do. You need to know what to do. I've had so many people that know that I retired from Philip Morris, and every single time a retiree from Philip Morris dies, they call me on the phone and say, "Hey, I have XYZ on the phone. Her husband just died. Can you talk to her and tell what she needs to do?" So being a retiree of 36 years at Philip Morris, and I spent probably 20 plus in HR, then I know what the process is. And
Mhm.
it's a long, arduous process unless you have some things in place. Now she told you about my little school accolades, and they're nice. Yes, I work very hard for it. My doctor is actually in HR management. I really love HR. That's my first love. And then I have a master's in leadership. I have a master's in HR management. I also have a master's in healthcare management, and my bachelor's is in business. And I think I got into this because there's so many people that were transitioning and they didn't have their documents in order. Now, if
Mhm.
you can do a couple of things. If you have a loved one that's kind of aging out, like my mom. So I became her power attorney for her finances, and I also
Mhm.
became her power attorney for her medical. And so that doesn't take anything from her. It's just I'm able to speak on her behalf. Now, a power of
Right.
attorney is only good as long as the person are or is living. So you can do everything for them while they're alive. But once they transition, it ceases. That's why you need to have a will in place. You really do need a will. I would encourage you to have a will. Now let me caution you. If you have a will, it does, and you have a beneficiary. Like I have some people that have life insurance policies.
Mhm.
I can have a will. Beneficiary supersedes the will. So if somebody in the will, you can say, "I want Joe Blow to get my car. I want Joe Blow to get my house. I want XYZ." And then when I have my life insurance, my beneficiaries are my children. And when they read the will, the beneficiary money goes to the children. The will does not supersede that. It does not supersede that. If you have a person that you're
Mhm.
leaving as a beneficiary for your life insurance, make sure they're going to do what you ask them to do. You don't have to. You're giving them the money.
Mhm.
I know
Right.
I dealt with one family, and the man left the money to one child, and he had more than one child. And the person
Mhm.
said, "Well, I can keep the money if I want to." They were absolutely correct, and I said, "You are absolutely correct.
Right.
You can keep the money if you want to, but who's going to bury this person?"
Right.
So they had to
Mhm.
use the money to bury them. So there are just so many things that people need to, you really need to take into effect. Whomever is your beneficiary, you're leaving for your life insurance. I have someone else that's leaving a child for their life insurance, and we've already said to them, now you have a child that you have not seen. They have children that you've never seen. And are you sure you want to leave your life insurance money to them? Because I've seen situations where they left the life insurance money to a young lady, and
Mhm.
she passed away. And then we knew there was a policy, and we did everything with the funeral home, and we didn't have to pay for it.
Mm. Well, okay.
I don't know. Okay, it
Yes.
looked like you timed out. She said, "I don't
Yeah.
like." She said, "I don't like anything that y'all did," and she refused to
Mm.
pay the funeral home. So
Wow.
that's why it's very important to have your end of life in writing, in process for somebody that you can trust. And then you relieve your family members of having to run around and find out who has a life insurance. I even had somebody else, this was years ago, they couldn't find a policy on their mom. And so they ended up cremating the mom. And then about 3 years later, the son said, "Oh, I had a policy. Mom had a policy, and I'm the beneficiary."
Wow.
And they found the policy years later. I mean, they cashed it in, but
Mm.
she was cremated, and we didn't. Nobody thought that she wanted cremated. So there's so many things to think about when you're planning end of life. And again, I know nobody wants to think about it. We don't know how long we're going to live. And as we get older, we know that we're closer to going home. While we're
Mhm.
young, there are a lot of young people pass away too. And then, you're so tired of seeing GoFundMe's. There's so many GoFundMe's, and people are like, they didn't have insurance. But a lot of people
Mhm.
don't think about that. One man, this lady said, "What are you going to do when you pass away?" He said, "Oh, I'll be dead and gone. I don't really care." And when he passed away, it was such a firestorm because he didn't care, but he had to be buried.
Yeah.
So
A lot of
it's been
people
a lot.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. A lot of
they don't.
people really don't want to be concerned about that, especially while they're trying to live. But
Exactly.
I had another young lady come on the show, and the stress of dying can sometimes cause people not to be able to live, right? So some people are sitting around stressing about dying because they feel like they haven't lived enough, or they haven't made enough money to take care of their burials or things like that. So it's important to get those affairs in order so that you can live, what they say, a peaceable life, right? So those are things that you have to think about as well. And let me ask you this: what is a living will? Is there a difference with a
So a
living will?
living will. So a living will is just things that take place while you're alive. They want you to have. I mean, it's good to have a living will. So it's similar to a power of attorney, but it states your needs while you are still alive. So and then
Okay.
you can have one. I mean,
Mhm.
some people have them. I don't really push those. I mean, they say they ask if you have a living will, and they're really good. Like when you go in for surgery and things like that, they'll ask you, "Do you have a living will?" And that gives you some of the right. That gives the person the authority to make decisions on your behalf. I mean,
Mhm.
you may not, you can. And I'm not saying I know anybody that does this, but you have people that do things and they don't do things at the best interest. Have your best
Absolutely.
interest at heart. So
Mhm.
you have to make sure if you're doing a living will, that it encompasses everything that you want. So just in case something happens, and you can go either way. You can have a living will that kicks in while you're alive, or you can have a living will that kicks in after you pass away.
Mhm. So is that the same as an advance directive? Not sure what's going on.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Is that the same as an advance directive?
Similar. An advance directive, it can be very widespread because an advance directive is like for example, I know a young lady has an advance directive one file. If anything happens to her if she goes to the hospital, she specifically tells you, "I don't want to be resuscitated. I don't want anything." And so it's really the language that's in those documents. And she'll
Absolutely.
point blank say, "No, don't keep me alive by any artificial means or anything." And one of the things that I've shared with my husband is if anything happens to me and I slip into a coma, if you don't have enough faith to pray me back, because you people can come back from a coma. You're hearing this the last thing that goes when you're passing away. When you transition, I
Right.
spent 5 years riding with the EMT, with the as a emergency medical technician. So if you don't have enough faith to pray me back, and you don't surround me with praying and believing people, then don't let me stay hooked up to a monitor. And then the document that you sent, Ms. G, about the man and what happens when they take you off and do that stuff, that is very important for people to understand too. What happens when they take you off life support?
Right.
And
Right.
the lady said, she said, if the Lord is going to take my dad, she said the Lord is going to take him while he's on a ventilator.
Right. Hmm. Yeah. And yeah. Well, this is a great chat so far, and I love all of the information that you've even given us so far. I have as a nurse, I work with people all the time. I work with people who go into hospice, and I talked about this once
Mm,
before when we talked about this subject once. Sometimes people will, as you said, give up on others, and they're really not ready to go, and you just don't know.
right.
So if they don't put their plans into place, then it could be kind of a mess. And then you have the family at the bedside, going at each other's throats,
Right.
because when grief and when those moments come, grief is not always as someone dies, but it could be the moment that someone goes into a transition. And when those grief moments come, people and emotions fly very high. And so not having these things in place causes a lot of confusion, because you if you have more than one child, you've got more than one personality. You got more than one characteristic. You got more than one opinion. You've got more than one desire and outlook. So everybody, and you sometimes you don't find that out until you deal with death. Sometimes
Right.
you feel like the brothers and oh, this family gets along so well, but let mama or daddy start slipping away.
Agree.
you you start finding
That's
out
true.
things you never even thought. And it's really important that you take into consideration that things will be different. People will come along and have a difference of opinion than what you have. And so what does the individual desire? What is it that they want? I did an advance directive many years ago with my doctor. So you go to your doctor's office, often they can just do your advance directive right there, give you the paperwork and help you to get it, and you can go and have it, signed, or what's the word? The What is the other thing you do?
Notarize. Notarize.
Yes. Are you still a notary?
Notarize. Notarize it.
You still a
Yes.
notary?
Yep.
Yes.
Still a notary. Yes.
So now, this is the
Yep.
question I had for you. So you're not a lawyer, though, although you probably have enough degrees to be one if you went for the bar. So you're not a lawyer. So do you have to have a lawyer in order to complete these documents? We're getting through here in this chat. Are you back?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. What was your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're freezing quite a bit, but that's okay. I said, so you're not a lawyer. So does a person actually need to have a lawyer to sign off on these documents or to create these documents for them?
Oh, absolutely not. No, no, no. I'm not a lawyer, and what I've done over the years is I've done a lot of research. I see Tanisha Henley says funerals can bring
Yeah.
Not the worst in people, and that's so true. But I've just empowered myself because I've always been a lifelong learner. So I've empowered
Mhm.
myself, and you don't have to be an attorney. You don't have to have a lawyer to draw these forms up. I see the ads on TV and they're charging all this money. There's some websites that you can go online and they offer free things to do these. You can create things legally in 20 to 30 minutes. But I will caution you because every situation is different, and you want to make sure you have the right language in there. And so Law Depot, I've been a member of them for years, and I used to go in there and I would create a lot of my forms from the Law Depot application, and those were written by lawyers. So the language is good, but you can say whatever it is that you want to say, and then you need two witnesses. And I would caution someone to do it while they're in their sound mind. You have to
Right.
be in a sound mind. Don't wait until you're laying on your deathbed to do things. I've done that too. I've gone to people. I was at Philip Morris. I've ran into the hospital and it's like, okay, fine. They need to sign a form, and I'm talking to them. Do you know who I am? I'm this person. Can you tell me who I am? Who's the president of the United States? That's always the question you ask somebody. Sometimes I've never met them to
Mhm.
know, and then you move forward, and you as long as they're of sound mind, and then you typically need two witnesses. Now, one thing about a notary, and I would
Mhm.
tell anybody, if someone notarizes something for you and they do not put a registration number down, a registration ID, a commission ID, I know in the state of Virginia, then that notary is not valid. That is tracked.
Mhm.
I'm, I'm registered in Chesterfield County, but I can notarize anywhere in the state of
Mhm.
Virginia. I can probably go anywhere, and that is
In the
tracked.
state of
So if
Virginia.
somebody said I'm going to forge a notary signature,
Mhm.
then your commission ID is tracked and it's on file with the state of Virginia. So yes, you do not have to be an attorney, but you do
Okay.
need to have your forms notarized, and you do need to have a witness. I would definitely encourage you to have a witness. Now, and if you're having someone to notarize something, they can't be privy to something. I can't notarize something for you if you say I'm gonna leave you my car. That's a
Mhm.
conflict of interest.
Right.
If I'm going to benefit for something, then I can't notarize.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Because there is a lot of people, and I just had this conversation yesterday, I believe, with someone. There's a lot of people out there that will, um, you know, plagiarize a lot of these things.
Fraud. Yeah,
Fraud, and I was trying to look for a better word, but yeah,
yeah.
it's so true. So let me ask you a question, because there's some people out here that say, well, I have a lot of money, and I have a lot of assets, and I don't really need to do that because, I mean, it's going to be fine. Or there's people who say, well, I don't have anything, so I don't need to do financial or end of life planning because I already don't have anything. What are your thoughts to those two perspectives?
Yes, I've had somebody to say that before, and in both instances, I would say you still should do a will, especially if you have a lot of money, because again, you can think everybody gets along, but when those dollar signs start chinging and people know what's coming down the pipe, caution goes out the window. It
Absolutely.
really does. And so if you say, I
Mhm.
did have a lady, she said, I don't have anything. Okay, well, when you transition, who's going to bury you? I mean, somebody's got to do it. Are you going to let the state put you in a pauper grave?
Mhm. Wow.
And people don't think. Now, a lot of older people, my mom's generation, and I know Mother Finley, your mom, and that generation, they believe in having life insurance policies. They pay off $3 a week or $3 however.
Right.
They believe in those policies,
Yeah.
like term policies.
Yeah.
And then when we came along, we had a little different policies, but you need to have something in place. And I know people say a lot. I hear it. Oh, I don't have anything. I don't have a will. Put a will in place
Mhm.
or name some beneficiaries. You would be surprised. This man literally thought his wife was the sole person on his bank accounts. And when he passed away,
Mm.
and they go into the bank to get his money, it's like, well, I'm sorry, I can't give it to you. He did a form, but
Mhm.
he didn't put you down. We're like, what? He
That's right.
forgot. He thought it was automatic. Nothing is automatic. And my husband and I, we traveled together a lot. We worked together. So what do you think we did? We went to the bank
Right.
and we named the kids
Right. Right. That's right.
about as
Because
beneficiaries
it happens. Yeah.
because we're always together. And so if something happens to our account,
Mhm.
they can go into the bank and they can get money.
Right.
And I'm gonna do. I was assuming it was on all of them, but things have changed. So I was like, okay, we got to make sure that this is in place for our children because we're always together. He and I are together probably 85% to 90% of the time. We're in the car together. We're in
Mhm.
the house together.
Right.
We're always. So you
Yeah.
need to put those in place. If you do have a lot of money, I especially I tell you to do. And if you don't have any money, yes, you have
Mhm.
something.
That's
You have
really
something.
good. What you're bringing out that a lot of times people don't realize. Because like I don't. Okay, so I'm single. I don't have a spouse, but I was like, okay, well, if I put my sister down, and a lot of times we're in the car together, like you said, we're
Hmm.
driving, but what would happen if something went wrong with both of us out on the road or something, so you got to have, even if you don't have that primary, you got to have those secondaries,
Contingent, yes.
yeah. So that's another thing to think about because a lot of people don't think about that. They just want to put one person down and they're like, I don't want this person to get my money. Well, like you said, it's not always about getting the money, but sometimes it's about who's going to take care of your end of life needs. Who's going to take care of those expenses and things that you have, right? So let me ask
Right.
you, how can you encourage someone to start working to secure even their finances? Because like we just talked about, a lot of people feel like, well, I don't have anything, so it really doesn't matter. But for those people that feel like they don't have anything, how can we start working on even securing our finances to help us as we age or as we go forth in life? What are some of the ways that you think people can start looking at securing their finances at this time in their life?
I don't know if that. Yeah. You know, people think it's really hard, and it can be hard because I've heard people say I'm on a fixed income, but I know a young lady that ended up saving. I think she said she would save $5 a month. She got paid twice a month, $5 twice a month. I think she had like four grandchildren for her
Mm,
grandchildren. And she said an elderly lady taught her that. And so she started when they were born, and she was able to save a lot of money. You can start small. You can start really small, and you don't have. She never made a lot of money, but she
mm,
saved. She ended up saving a lot of money. Her grandkids are much older now, but she ended up saving a ton of money.
mhm,
It was shocking to me. So you can really start small. There are some things like Stash, Stash. Stash
mhm,
allows you to save money in small increments and buy a couple shares of stock. You can
mhm,
have one share of stock and you start small because on Stash, it tells you everything about buying shares of stock. Robinhood is another one. Invest in
mhm,
little small incremental shares of stock. Buy something that's small and it'll grow. I think the stock that I started buying a few years ago, and it'll show you how to. I never touch it. I never touched it when the pandemic came. It tanked and then it came back up. So I have several. I have several stocks that I'm going to leave to my grandchildren. All of my grandchildren. It's one share, but that
mhm,
one share will grow, and I can add to it. But I diversify. I don't put everything. One lady said, "Go." She said, "Buy some medical stock." I was like, "I'm not buying medical stock." So I
mhm,
bought it, and then in a few months they announced that it did something. So I made money. Now, Cash App is another one. You have to be watchful.
mhm,
But Cash App, if you have a Cash App card, it allows you, when you use your card, and if you say save my change, it'll allow you to save the change, and then you can start buying stock. So there are
mhm,
some really small. Wells Fargo is another one. You can start buying small amounts of stock. And then think about it like this. I was spending so much money in getting my nails done. I like to get my nails done.
Mm-hmm.
So my nails and makeup and perfume, that's my weakness. Oh, of course, and clothes. So what I decided to do is go and order me the press on nails instead of spending so much money for my nails. So the money that I'm
Right.
saving and getting my nails done, I just invested in the press on so I can change them in time so that's and then that way the money that I was spending in nails, I can invest it in something else. Because we eat
Absolutely.
out. We eat out a lot. There are things that you do. A lot of us do it. We say, oh man, I cannot save a dime. Well, go
Mm-hmm.
back and look at how much you're eating out.
Right.
How much fast food cook? How much, not
Mm-hmm.
one to talk, and much fast food. I mean, I've been married a long time and I cook. I still cook, but not as much. But my husband eats a meal every single day. But if
Right.
you're eating out and you're eating out every day and you're eating out a couple of times during the week, every Sunday you're going out, then decide
Mhm.
for 1 month,
Right.
1 month. I'm not gonna eat out. I'm just gonna go home. I'm gonna take that money. I'm gonna cook me some soup or whatever, and take that money and save it. Put it somewhere.
Mhm.
You can save it in your house. You can save it wherever. I would highly recommend you save something to have some cash on hand. Save your little bit. Put a little bit
Mhm.
away. Save your change, and you can save change, and then go and turn your cash your change in, and don't spend that money. I've done that too. I've just saved up change, and then I cash the
Yeah.
change in, and then I
Absolutely.
took it away. So there are
Mhm.
ways to do it. People say, I'm struggling, I'm paycheck to paycheck. Death and life is in the power of your tongue. You
Mhm.
should have whatsoever you say. You're
Oh,
not struggling.
oh.
You're not struggling. Change. Make some changes,
Make
small,
some changes. Make some change and make some
so they won't be
changes.
overwhelming.
Wow, that's really awesome. So how
Mhm.
does Empower to Change Consulting LLC, how do you actually help other individuals? I know you told us in the beginning about some of the experiences that you had, but what do you actually offer?
So I can do a whole this is a gamut of things. I can consult. I can consult on if you have to do a financial power of attorney, you want to do a medical power of attorney, you would like to do a universal power of attorney. I can help you with that. I can help you with your wills. I can help you do research. I've had to do so much research when people transition, so I can make connections, and it's just not a one time thing. Sometimes when somebody transitions, there's a whole gamut of things. I have
Right.
scheduled people to go to the probate court because if you don't have a will and you have any assets, then you go to a probate court and you become important the executor. You don't have to be, I mean, the administrator, not executor, the administrator. If you leave a will, then when you leave in your will, then you become the executor. But if you don't have a will, then you go to the court and the court appoints you as the administrator. So I walk people through that process. I set up the appointments for that. Birth certificates, death certificates, whatever certificate you can get. That's a service that I offer as well. Is
Mhm.
oftentimes you need those, even I'm biased. Wilson and Associates. He's a wonderful. I point people to him to use him for planning these for any type of when people transition because he's a
Right.
Christian. He's actually
Okay.
my neighbor, and he's very fair. And he works with you. So if you don't have all the money, he really works really well without people, and he's
Mhm.
fair and he's honest. So these are some things that I offer. How I can point you to the right direction. Experiences that I've had because most of the things are experiences that I've had that I've been dealing with people, and I did it kind of on the down low. A lot of stuff I was doing on the down low, and sometimes I should be charging all the time, and I do, but I know, like you said, with people change, and I'm a sap. I cry easy, and my heart is so huge. My mom loves to help people. I like to help people. My daughter likes to help people, and her daughter likes it. So it's in our genes to help people. So I try very hard to be a resource, but a lot of things are very time consuming. It's not just a one time thing. You have to do follow up. There's a lot that's involved. So Empower to Change Consulting. gives you like a holistic view and lets you know what your expectations are. You know, if you have some, for I'll give a prime example. If you have a person that was married and the man had not seen his wife in 20 plus years, but the court says you need to make a concerted effort to find that person. So I
Mm.
researched social media.
Really?
I found out the last known address. I sent the letter to the last known address. I went on all the social medias, the last name I knew. So I did a good faith effort. And then I went back to the court and said, here's what I did. Couldn't find her. Sent the letter
Mm.
to the house, came back saying she doesn't live there. I have no clue how to reach this person. Okay, you
Mm.
did your due diligence. And you move on. Because it's not
Mm.
true that the wife gets everything. It is not true. It is not true. So that's one thing. And I educate people. I educate them on what they need to do and really try to encourage them to get your affairs in order. And this, I found this book, and this is a good book. I didn't like the title. It says I'm dead now what? So I changed to say now I've transitioned. I got it from Barnes and Noble, and it
Okay.
has all of my. I know it was so awful. I blacked that thing out and put out a piece of paper and put it on it, and so it has every single thing. One, I've given everything to my daughter. If anything happens to me, I tell her all my passwords, blah 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 blah. And then I was thinking, oh gosh, she's got to write this down somewhere. So I encourage down what you need. She knows I don't like flowers. Don't you? Don't when I transit, don't you have a bunch of flowers at my place? Things
Take that money something else, right? Mm, 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 mm. Yes.
yeah, I don't know. So yeah, so I do a whole gamut of things. I sit down with you. I'll do the running around. I'll do the talking for you. I'll make the phone calls. The whole 9 yards. That's what I offer.
Okay. Well, this was really a great conversation. I know that we're having some challenges with the it's going in and out, but we're catching what you're saying. And so I think hopefully the playback will be nice and
Yeah,
smooth. We do have the audio, so we'll try to make sure that we
yeah.
have
I don't know why it's doing that.
we can do something with the audio because it's a very good information for people to be able to get. And no, there's not so many times that you can hear this too many times. It's definitely necessary. So I'm going to make sure that if thank you so much, Tanisha. I'm glad that you're here on tonight. But yeah, and I'm going to go back to what you said even earlier. Funerals can really bring out the worst in people, and just grief just brings out the worst in people. You have to really be careful for that. Yeah, making changes. We got to receive this. We got to understand that it's time to do things differently, and we're in such a different and a harsh time that we just don't know what tomorrow holds. And so, I think another thing is not just doing financial planning, but making sure that you're doing it in such a way that's so wise that even if there are some changes that, we don't know what the government or different, entities will be doing in the future, but making sure that we make these changes so that these are things that are not going to be snatched away from us. And, I think that's really important too, because every
Yes,
day, it's like uncertain times, as they say. We are really in uncertain times, and so, but again, just not waiting until the last minute. And I've seen people, like I said, having worked in the nursing home for many years, having worked in home health, and I even worked in the hospice house, and things that people didn't expect. I know we had people that came into the nursing home or the hospice house or whatever, and they came in one way, and you're thinking they're going to go back out that way, but it quickly can transition. You sometimes you don't even
yes,
have time to discuss anything, because we used to see people and they would. It seemed like, back in the day, people would be older and they would just go through this long death. I remember My father was in the hospital, and he was in the hospital for months with cancer. He was in the hospital for months, and they don't do that anymore, you know. And
Mm-mm.
sometimes people don't
No,
even detect it that quickly. And so I know people that they detected, and they said that they had stage 4 cancer, and before you knew it, they were gone. So you have to really just be prepared for the worst, but live your best while you're
exactly.
prepared for the worst. Yeah. So how can our audience follow through with you if they're interested in getting to know more about what you do and how you can be of service to them?
I think I put my email out there, Empowered to Change. I don't have a website right now. We're kind of in transition, but send me an email, text message, my phone number, 804-252-9675. Empowered to Change Consultant LLC at, oh, I left the L M out at Gmail. That's gmail.com. These
Okay.
long nails, I couldn't type fast enough. At gmail.com. I'll be happy to set up my first consulting appointment with anyone is free. I do my first one free. And then let's say, for example, if someone wants a will, I do the initial consultation. I write the will, give them the will back, and then I allow you to have up to 2 edits free of charge. So once you pay me your fee, my fee is really $100 for the forms. That's what I charge, $100 for each form. But you have two updates. So if you need to
Mhm.
update something and say once we finalize it, not going back and forth. I had one lady I went there twice. She kept showing it to her daughter, but I mean once we finalize it, you get it notarized and get everything approved. And I
Mhm.
mean I can notarize it too. And then you come back, maybe the next year and say, yeah, I want to change this because I don't like the way my child was acting. That's free.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, my
Okay.
grandson, he's on drugs. I think I need another update. That's free. So you
Mhm.
do get 2 updates. So that's what I do. And you
That's
can just shoot,
good. Yeah. Yeah, that's
yeah,
good because,
shoot me an
like I said,
email, give me a phone call, send me a text message, and set up. You know,
yeah, that's good. Like I said, the way
go ahead.
people are going today, they're going so quickly. And I told one of my friends, because I have some friends who are weird, not really weird, but they are, I've had a couple of friends say to me many years ago, when I used to do a lot of programs and all that kind of stuff, they were like, okay, I want you to do my funeral program. And I'm like, what? And I thought it's pretty weird, but they were facing some situations and they didn't want to leave
Mm,
certain things to chance, I guess is what you would say.
right.
But like you said, you have to go back and you have to make sure those things are up to date, because things change so quickly. And I said to one of them, I said, you're going to have to go back and redo this program because some of those people are gone and you still here. so, so we got to go back now and we've got to
Yeah, because
redo this.
people change
Yeah, they go quickly, and so she's still here,
and they
and
got
yeah, they're gone, and she's here. So anyway, we thank you so much again for being here. There's the email address if you'd like to reach out to Dr. Michelle to get more information or to follow through with her. What about are there any special events coming up? Any talks? Do you do any online talks? Are you thinking about doing some online talks or seminars? Is that coming our way? You got stuck just in time,
I don't
huh?
know. Okay, I missed the last part. What was the last question?
I said, are there any talks on this subject, webinars or online talks or anything where you're going to be presenting on this
Not
subject?
yet. No, not yet. It's almost like unfortunately a morbid conversation. People are living their best lives.
That's
They don't give thought for tomorrow. They're living their best life. They're living the way they want to live, and so people aren't thinking about this.
okay.
It's probably there's probably a niche to do it. I'm sure that there is because people need to know. It needs to be done.
So I think
And the person
I
you
think
I
that
kept telling
sounds
my daughter, I
like
say this. I said, if I go first, I said, if I go first, you take you have to do everything because daddy's not gonna be able to do everything. And one day, she said to me, well, I probably won't either, so you do your own. Like write your stuff up yourself. And I thought, she has a point. So
Mhm.
I mentally started doing that. I mean, I literally did. I mean, I got so many things and you I think there's something that has to happen because things happen so fast, like you said. I mean, my mom-in-law is a prime example.
Mhm.
She was here Sunday and Monday I talked to her, and then 7 hours later she left. But she had everything in place, and she told
Right, right.
all five of her children and me what she wanted. She passed on Monday. Her celebration was on that Saturday, and that Friday we had a big event for her, and we did it.
Mhm.
It was flawless. It was literally flawless because she
Mhm.
told us what she wanted to do. So
Right.
I think there's webinars. I might push that later on. You can help me.
Yeah, I think the answer should be yes. I think the answer should be yes because you've gotten the attention of few people that have come through here, and I'm sure it says a certain amount that's on here now, but we've had quite a few more that have been in and they've watched for a little while. Maybe they had somewhere else to go, but I guarantee you there will be many more who will stop in and they will listen to this chat because it is a very timely conversation. It is a very important conversation. And I think more people, even people who are younger, are realizing that this is the time that they actually need to have these conversations. Even as a
Yes.
person now, I'm in my 60s, and my thought was always, oh well, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna die. Whatever happens after I leave here, like you said, I don't really care. I don't have any kids. I don't have this. I don't have that. But then I start thinking about those that will have to be dealing with what I leave behind. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's a bill, they're gonna have to be thinking about it. So what am I gonna
Right.
be doing to secure that future for them? So I hope and pray that we can hear from you again real soon, with some opportunities. So we'll be following you. We'll be just looking to see, listen to this, look at this, I love it, I love it. Yeah, I finally just got my own life insurance policy outside of my job to have me covered, and
That's
that's
good.
great. And keep up with it because it could be easy to fall off of that. Like I said, at 60 I can remember when I had some when I was younger, and then you fell off, and then you go here there, and those things can sometimes be recaptured, but sometimes they can't. So stick
Right.
with. Mhm. Well, thank you so much for joining us on tonight. We look forward to having you again here in the lounge.
Thank you.
Always a
Thank you.
pleasure to have you. I don't mind bringing repeat people if they're going to be bringing us some great information and some great exciting news that we have to help us to grow. So I thank you for joining me once again on tonight, and we
Thanks for
look
having
forward.
me.
You're welcome. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Love you so much. All right.
God bless.
So
Love you. Thank you. Bless you.
thank you. Thank you. So, as you see, we have had a great chat on tonight about very important information, and I hope that you took everything into consideration that was being discussed on tonight. And I hope that you would take a moment, send Dr. Michelle an email, let her know. If you have any questions, if you have any desire to receive any information, I'm even going to pop this back up here one more time so that you can get her email, because this is a very important conversation. Very, as I said, it's a touchy subject, but it's a necessary subject. And as a person who has recently experienced some things that I didn't expect to experience myself, it makes you think about a lot of things that you really need to address in your life. So thank you so much. Thank you, Marie, for joining us. I'm glad to see you again on tonight. And again, I am Miss G, and I am looking forward to hearing from each and every one of you myself. If you're interested in being on my show, you can just send me a message, or you can go to our website. You can go to our Facebook page. You can send me a message and let me know that you're interested in being here with me. Also, I want to remind you that don't forget that we have that my book is still available on Amazon.com. Yeah, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep pushing. You can still get both of my books. You can go to my author page, which is my name, Gwen Finley. And you can see the books that I have there. And I have more books coming really, really soon. So I want you to make sure that you follow me there. Follow me over on YouTube. We love to be able to share with you on all of our social media, and we have more things that are coming your way. So we look forward to seeing you all again on next week, right here in Miss G's Ladies Lounge. Have a very, very great and wonderful evening and week, and we'll see you on next week. Bye.